name is Stephanie Danler. I'm the author of Sweet Bitter, and I came to Aspen with a scholarship in 2014 for a novel editing workshop.
My name's Noyes, and I'm the author of the short story collection Goodnight, Beautiful Women. And I first came to Aspen as an emerging writer fellow in 2015.
I'm Molly Prentiss. I'm the author of Tuesday Nights in 1980, a novel. And I came to Aspen in 2014 with the Emerging Writer Fellowship.
It's so nice to go to a place that you can really feel the support for the arts and literature and the generosity of Aspen Words both times has just been incredible. So it's been quite a joy each time.
It's surreal also because last time I found so much comfort in listening to others talk about what it means to be a writer in the real world and in practice. And so I was listening to, Anne Hood talk about her process becoming a writer as my book was about to become a book, and trying to sort of feel my way through what that would be like. And now to be back in that position, trying to talk about it to other people who are writing books, is a very strange and sort of lovely full circle. But nothing could have prepared me for what it feels like, but it was a comfort.
I think that the impulse to write came from loving to read, and I think about those early stories, and I was just mimicking, whether it was the Babysitter's Club or Edgar Allan Poe. I think that that's what you do when you're learning how to write, and then eventually it became a part of my identity.
Yeah, I'd say a similar thing in that I've just always been a reader before I was writing anything, and I felt like a serious reader when I was young and read things that were above my head and probably too sort of dark and strange for an 11-year-old girl to be stealing off her mom's bookshelf. But I think that, sort of following Oprah's book club every Christmas and giving those books to my family and reading them myself, and those kinds of early reading experiences really formed me as a writer.
I've had so many rejections that I've had to come up with this technique, and I basically, as soon as I apply for something, I make myself forget that I applied. So I consistently have things out in the world that I'm sending out. A professor told me to always have 7 things out in the world. I don't always have that, but especially not now. But for a while I was sending 7 things out at a time, and when one comes back as a rejection, you send another one out. So I was doing that for a long time, and the rejections came. And so I learned to, same as you guys said, they just roll off. They all become one. They don't become you. They don't define you. What defines you is the things that get made.
I will say that the kind of marketing machine of publishing, I don't think I really understood. I thought it was all making art, but it's a commercial process, and there's a component to the job that is just marketing. And that's not the part that you treasure about yourself when you're a writer, your ability to articulate yourself about your work. That doesn't feel like it should matter. I was surprised at how much it mattered.
I would just add a sort of smaller thing that was surprising to me and exciting, was that through this whole process, we've been sent to so many independent bookstores, and I was so surprised at basically I was acquainted with the job of being an independent bookseller, and met so many of these people, these humans whose lives are these books that we write and that other people write, and they know the books so well, and they are the most well-read people in the world and the kindest people. So to me, that whole community was just this amazing gift that I thought I got through this process.
The book that first came to mind, a book that made me see the world differently, Rebecca Solnit just released 2 short books published by Haymarket. One is Men Explain Things to Me, and I just finished the newest one, The Mother of All Questions. And I don't know that it made me see the world differently, but articulated an experience that I'd been having since I was a girl, but didn't know that I could or should put words to it. The sort of subtle tics of sexism through language. And the new book is really about silence, ways in which women are kept silent. And I've been sitting with that since, and I think that is, they're like manifestos almost, and they're an excellent articulation of this moment in our political climate.
Yeah, I thought of two books, because I couldn't limit it to one, that I'd read in the past year that influenced me and changed my world. And the first one was Citizen, an American Lyric by Claudia Rankine. And I just thought that was, an incredible book. You see these instances of racist violence in the world on the larger scale, and I think we're all familiar with those tragedies and in grieving those tragedies as a country, but those tragedies begin on a smaller scale, and I think that people have a much more difficult time sort of recognizing and articulating and understanding their own place in it, especially if you're a privileged white liberal, in this sort of micro, smaller gestures of racism and injustice. And so I think that was really illuminating. And after reading that book, to wake up a little bit and realize that you're not neutral when you're, as a white American, and that there are all these instances around you that maybe you can't see, but that other people can see. And so since reading that, I've really been noticing myself and the world around me in a different way. And the other one was What Belongs to You by Garth Greenwell. And I think that was a really important book, and I've heard Garth talk about this. But to move the sort of tenderness and humanity and human connection and dignity of the queer experience into spaces that have been marginalized and have been kept on the fringe, to know that kind of connectivity and morality and humanness happens in bathrooms and happens with blowjobs, and I think is really important, because it just gets kept in this sort of sanitized space, I think.
So a few books, I'm going to do a few books too, a few books that have kind of rocked me awake or shocked me or made me see the world differently. They all have to do with sort of showing the complexity and nuance and singularity of the female experience. And I would say two of those books, the authors are sitting right next to me: Sweet Bitter by Stephanie Danler, Goodnight Beautiful Women by Noyes, and also A Manual for Cleaning Women by Lucia Berlin, and the short stories by Clarice Lispector, and Veronica by Mary Gateskill.